We actually
Give us just 1 second.
1 second.
we're gonna introduce ourselves, then we're gonna go with you guys and then judges and coaches and then we'll go ahead, okay?
Okay.
I am Krishnam. I work in an IT and I work for Google Cloud. And here's Mr. Jason.
I'm Jason. I'm a teacher here in Loudon.
I'm Manju. I work in IT at a company called Carson Solutions.
Alright, you can go ahead and talk about your team and please introduce yourself first. From which grade? And
Okay,
if you want to tell the school.
Which school name?
My name is Sanvi. I'm in 5th grade.
My
Which
name's
school?
McNair Upper Elementary. Fairfax County.
My name's Samara. I'm in 4th grade and I'm from McNair Upper Elementary School.
My name is Rishikesh, and I'm in 4th grade, and I'm from McNair Upper Elementary School.
My name is Pernika. I'm in 4th grade and I go to Flores Elementary.
My name is Abhinav. I'm in 5th grade and I go in McNair Upper Elementary School.
My name is Abhiyan and I'm in 5th grade and I go to McNair Upper Elementary School.
Okay, so we would start with we're starting with a song.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. We
We are the Lego Pegasus and Eagles and Mustangs Morphogenesis. We are here to talk about renewables.
There's the wind, the solar, the hydro, the geo, the gas.
You mean biomass?
Yeah, that's right, the biomass.
Well, there are 6 people on the team, and we are all on the right balance beam.
Tell you what, renewable energy is a kind of art.
Using them is really smart.
We put this intro into every step.
And then we move on to the genius part.
So team, let's get on with this presentation.
Right on, judges. We'll answer with no hesitation.
Nice. Good.
We are 4th and 5th graders from Herndon, Virginia. Our team name is the Lego Pegasus. So our innovation project is a floating solar farm. We chose a floating solar farm because we think this will go a long way and make a big impact in our land footprint and transmission costs.
Why did we pick solar? We did a comparison of all renewable energy sources. Wind, solar, hydro, geo, etc. We ranked these sources based on cost, efficiency, availability, and recycle. We assigned points to each source based on our research. We picked solar because its advantage due to availability and efficiency. According to energy.gov, solar energy is the most abundant resource on Earth, providing around 173,000 terawatts of continuous energy to Earth.
Okay, so as we learned that solar energy is one of the best energies, we're gonna look at some problems with solar. So we looked for solar around our community, and it was very hard to find. We spoke to a few of our neighbors and parents and learned that installing solar was very expensive and sometimes the HOA were not allowing it. The nearest solar farms we found were 3 hours away, far from major cities and population, and required a lot of transmission costs to connect to the grid.
Our solution. We picked a community-based floating solar farm, and these are the reasons why. 1. Near us there are many lakes and reservoirs. In spaces that are used, we can put our small floating solar farm in. These are some of the lakes that we could do that in. We could use Lake Anna, the Chesapeake Bay, or Burke Lake. 2. If we share our costs as a community, we can go more solar instead of individually paying for solar panels on our roof. 3. Lakes in major cities transport energy to a grid. That grid transports energy to
Okay, you can move on.
power lines today. 4. We could use bigger lakes like Lake Michigan or offshore locations like Virginia Beach.
We have also made a prototype that is based upon the solution Parnika was just talking about. It is simple and not very expensive to install. Like a floating raft, it is made of a strong plastic membrane which is held together like a trampoline. The solar panels can be installed by simply placing them over this membrane. The floating raft can be held in place by dropping an anchor similar to boats, and ripples will not be a problem for the solar panels because of the flexible membrane.
And I'm sure you're all wondering why floating solar farms will help. But they will help by one, reducing our reliance on fossil fuels. Two, Virginia's population is rapidly growing and we need the space for homes, schools, offices, and playgrounds. Three, using floating solar farms will ensure more space for people and wildlife. Four, floating solar farms can be deployed on the ocean water around discarded oil rigs that will help to anchor them. 5, multiple floating solar farms can be connected to make one gigantic floating solar farm. Thank you.
While you're talking, I got an idea. I just wanted to just share it. Why can't we lay the roads with the solar panels? Yes.
Because maybe they could get damaged with all the traffic and the people's lives and how they live.
Also, if there's a car crash or something happens to a car, they can break several solar panels.
And the earth takes over, like, there's more water than earth, so if you put on water, there'll be more sunlight to get, and it won't affect us or the animals.
So how about any research you guys have done on water, on the water, what do you call the organisms living under the water?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
It brings a cooling effect for the animals under the sea or whatever body of water we're using.
And we also thought we could keep them in dead body rivers so that it won't be affected by wildlife or humans.
And even if we do keep them on the ocean, we can put small gaps so that if they do need to do, the light can still filter through, and the animals and things like phytoplankton can still live.
So another thing is that if we keep it in the water, we can also make it a charging station for ships. So then they get energy like when they're parked. It's too. So they get more energy.
Oh, okay. Charging station. It's interesting.
Very nice, yes, not bad.
Okay. What is your team name?
Pegasus.
What is it?
But it says eagles and mustangs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
didn't
kinda.
get
You guys change?
Yeah.
The team name is just our Lego team name and logo, so it's still in the papers, in the systems, it is still Eagles and
But when we
Mustangs.
first registered, we weren't
Oh,
sure
that's
what
fine.
they
We,
were.
we don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
The official team name is.
That's
the-
fine, I figured it out, you guys gave us the flyer, but I was like, are we on the right team?
Yeah, yeah.
How did you guys go about getting to this point? So tell me a little bit about your process on just how you picked it, kind of got to here, just the short version.
Okay, so we started out with giving each other jobs and came up with some simple ideas. We did some research here, and it says solar gives so much, and wind, and we looked at all those things that we could give energy. And we picked solar because the cost is not that much, efficiency is good, and availability is high. We can put solar in many places in the world.
And even though hydro looks like it's low cost, efficiency is high, and the availability is high, and recyclability is high, you can't put them in many places. That's why we thought we could put the solar, because you can put it wherever you want.
Okay, thanks. Innovation question?
So, as I said earlier, I was asking about the team name. Who came up with the team name? Okay.
A bunch of people?
All six? Okay.
So I think that the team name, it's kind of like all of us came out with it. So we picked Eagles and Mustangs first because Mustang is the symbol of the McNair School, and Eagles is the symbol of the Flores School. So we just picked it out like that, and then we decided to be a little more creative, and then we combined Eagles and Mustangs and made it into a morphogenesis, and that becomes the Lego
The
Pegasus.
logo
right?
Pegasus.
So the symbol is a combination of
Combination
eagle
of
and.
both.
Yes, ma'am.
So
horse, like a eagle flies, and a horse is like a unicorn kind of. So then if you combine like a unicorn and like a bird, it makes a Pegasus. And so we combined a horse and an eagle to make a Pegasus.
I was trying to figure out what it would actually be if it was an eagle and a Mustang morphed together, but I think the Pegasus is a fine one to settle on. It's perfect.
Do you know what Mustang is?
Yes.
Horse.
You ready to go on?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for sharing all of that with us. So the next thing we're gonna ask you to do is we're gonna move into the robot design component of your day. So honestly, if you wanna bring,
No, you the board there.
are you gonna talk about your board? Are you gonna talk from your
Yeah.
board?
Yeah, we have
Perfect. And if you wanna pull your robot out, you can also put it up here and you can speak to it also.
Yeah.
We can put it here.
Or if you wanna hold it cause you're showing us stuff, it's up to you, but yeah, I wanna know what all that stuff is and why you chose it.
So this was
Do you guys don't, I don't wanna cut you off, but do you guys have a presentation? It's like you wanted to speak. So do you guys wanna speak from the board and just
Yeah.
share with us and then you can
Maybe
come up
we'll-
and tell us
okay.
more?
We'll do one each.
yeah, sure.
Sure, go ahead.
Do what we wanna hear?
Okay, so we had this tray to catch when you push on the wind turbine. You know how you have to collect those
Yep.
energy units and take them back to home. So we came up with this kind of a plate thing. This is the more efficient version of it. This is our first version, like we
Okay.
have on the board, but we didn't get time to change that because this was like made later on, and we already had that printed.
That's fine, you're showing us your process, that's what I wanna know.
Okay, so we had this. When this pushes on there, because we thought it was low, it pushes on it, and the energy units fall into here, and we drag it back home.
Okay.
So this one is our mission plan was to get the energy units from the wind turbine. Then we would lower this arm to grab the rechargeable battery. So this was connected to the back, and it would stay up like this. And then after the wind turbine, this would lower, and it would drag the rechargeable battery back to home.
So over here, this is our robot. So it does have one attachment here, and we use this attachment for the oil platform to lift and get the energy units into the oil truck. So over here is the hub, and we added. So first our robot had like small wheels, and now we use bigger wheels so that it's faster and more efficient. And also now our robot has two sides, 1 and 2. Before the hub was this way, so it didn't have two sides. We only used one side.
So how the rechargeable battery works. So after the wind turbine, this is like this. So this lowers and it drags it back to home like this. And then this is the energy unit dropper. So you can load up to 3 energy units in this for the energy storage mission. So what it's attached to the robot, like it's attached on this side. It's attached like this. And then when it gets to the energy storage, we make this drop so all of them fall in. And then we also use this for the hydroelectric dam, and we use this to lift the red stick, the lever, to let the water unit go.
So how many motors and how many sensors you have?
We haven't used our sensors.
We didn't use our sensors because we didn't want the light to mess it up.
Because we
Okay.
thought the lighting might be different everywhere we go.
So how
Thought
many
it might
motors?
change everywhere.
And it also slowed the robot down, so we did approximate measurements.
Four. We have 4 more.
So you have 4 motors, and what do they do? What's their purpose and what you're?
Okay, so this motor at the front, it moves the handle here.
Okay.
The motor at the back will move this up and down.
Okay.
And then these 2 motors will move the wheels.
Got it.
So you guys did not use any sensors.
No sensors. So how many missions you guys are attempting?
10. No, 10.
So
We did 10.
10 missions. What's your mission plan? How are you gonna go? You talked a little bit about it, I think.
So this is our mission plan. So this is like the first time we start in the blue launch and we go to the TV, and we come back home, and then we go a little bit different, and it sends it to the wind turbine, then it goes to the rechargeable rechargeable battery. And then it comes back and it grabs the dyno and puts the dyno onto the robot and the innovation project. So it stops at the innovation project and then continues to the red launch area. And then after that, we do the oil platform, and then we come back, and then it goes to the smart grid, and it goes to the solar farm. So the dozer blade moves.
This one?
Yeah, this one.
It
This one
pulls
pulls
the-
the
it
hand
pulls-
back, so it lifts forward like a catapult. And then this one we use to push away the energy units from the solar farm.
So you've got a tool that an attachment to does multiple things right now.
Yes.
Okay, keep going.
And then for the last run, we do the energy storage. We drop the energy units, and then we use the energy that arm to do the hydroelectric dam.
Because it's like
It
about
comes
the same
back up.
height.
So our total, if we do all of the missions, we got 200. But if the other team does the smart grid, then we get an extra 10 points for that. So we could get 200 or 210.
And another thing was, in one of the runs, the smart grid wasn't working and it went and hit the power plant, and then it released one energy unit without us knowing. So then we got an extra point for bonus, even though we weren't wanting it.
You are not, it's a good, right?
Sometimes luck is better than skill.
And we tried to use our attachments in the easiest way as possible, and we also tried to make sure that we didn't have to bring it back to home so many times and change the attachments, because we thought that would take so much time out of our time that we could move our robot.
So you wanted to maximize each tool so that you could maximize the amount of points in the amount of time you have.
Yes.
So how many points you guys got?
What's the most, have you done a live run?
We did one.
You did
One
one.
round, there are two more.
Got 140.
No, in general at home.
Oh,
When you did
at
a
home.
test
Oh, yeah,
runs,
a lot.
You did a lot?
Yeah.
So how long does it take for your
Well,
entire?
we started at 4 minutes, then we started like moving up.
Yeah.
We started late and then we started like moving up and then try to get closer, fitting all our missions in.
Mhm.
We had to change the code many times. We had a little struggle with that.
And at least
It takes 6 minutes?
the least
Before it did. Before it did. Then we
No.
changed it and it kept changing it, and now it takes about 2.5 minutes.
Okay, go ahead, we'll get you.
Good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so what we had struggles with was positioning it right, because if it was even a little bit off, then it would mess up the entire robot. So we had to position it very precisely, or it would mess up the entire robot.
How do you keep track of that?
We looked at the board, like they're like in the launcher, there's like little
Yeah.
squares. So we would mark those with the sensors or the wheels or the attachments. So it would, but it had to be very precise.
But
So
you
we
are
do-
not using the sensors, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
we were
just
just
like
we were
no,
like
for positioning, just like on the home area, you know, there's like so many
Yeah,
things.
yeah, go ahead.
We could like mark them with those items that were placed on that
Like
board.
for example, for the energy storage and the hydroelectric dam, we remember by this sensor has to be on the little C of this challenge, and this has to be between
The T and I.
the T and I of
Dot of the I.
Yeah,
What's the highest score you guys have got so far?
180.
180.
No, 180.
we got 200 once.
So how many times have you revised and redesigned your robot?
About
Three
like
times.
2-3 times.
Because once the motors were going the wrong way, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had like a smaller robot, our robot, we thought that it could advance and it could do more things. So we changed the design of it and made it a little bigger, had more motors, and so it could move, do more things, and hold more attachments at once.
So how did the coach help you in that?
The code helped
No,
us.
coach. Your
Oh,
coach.
coach.
No, don't look at him.
So the coaches they just helped us by saying that, like, giving us advice and
How we should modify our thing,
Yeah.
you know, how.
And they also
And they
came
give
up
us
with the
ideas.
template for our our slides. So then we put these things we needed to do in there, and then it helped
So
us.
they
did
gave,
all
so
the
they gave you the
research.
back, they gave you a design to use and said, here you go, and then you guys
Yes.
added it all.
Yeah,
That's cool.
we did all the information.
Awesome. So who did design, of the robot, who did design, who did build, how did you guys split that up?
so Tim did what is it called? The research.
No, we didn't do the research.
It starts with
Originally we did
Innovation.
design, and then we did
Identify?
No.
I-
Yeah, identify.
Oh.
So we did identify, and her
Me and
and
Abhinav did create, which is like creating the robot, showing what the model design is,
And then me and her, Samara did the design, and we came up with design, right? Yeah, we researched, but it was called design. It was called design. Yeah, but we researched and we wrote why we chose solar.
And also, a lot of times we didn't have the fixed jobs.
Yeah.
We split up, and then so that we could do different things based on the importance of the tasks.
So did you all do coding?
Yes, yes. So we kind of like split up the missions.
So
Like which one was in the
Got it.
home area. So when in the actual tournament, we were Avian and Sanvi were gonna switch with me and Abhinav. So we go first, and then we switch after our mission's done, and Samira and Rishi always stay there.
So first, what happens is they send out the robot to do the TV and the wind turbine and the rechargeable battery, and then they send the innovation project in Dino, and then they too did do the oil platform, and then the smart grid and solar farm, and then me and him go last, and we do the energy storage and the hydroelectric
So
dam.
you've basically broken up
Yeah.
the board
Missions.
into teams that all work together.
Yes.
So, how did you guys identify each one's strength?
We look through them. We watch some videos of how other teams have
No, your
completed their
strength
missions.
within your team. How did you
So-
identify he's good in this, he's good in this, she's good in this?
We all did different roles like the first couple weeks, and then when we figured out what we were each good at and not so good at, we all split up according to our strengths and weaknesses, so that we could all work on our strengths, and and your weakness, somebody else who has that strength can work on that instead.
Oh, good.
So we could complete all those missions whenever.
So you guys all from the same school?
No,
No.
I'm
How did you guys meet? First place?
Uh,
Me, her, friend.
Okay.
He is my sister's friend's brother.
Got it? Got it?
He,
It's a lot of steps to do.
he's his friend,
Okay,
So
nice.
and she's his friend.
So you were new friends?
Yes.
So you guys had a lot
Yeah.
of fun looking
not
like.
this year though.
Yeah.
You
So
guys had
like
fun.
the first two meetings, we're just kind of getting to know each other, trying to work together.
So what is the favorite part in your robot?
We did our favorite part was building it.
Building the robot, but there should be one.
He's saying, well, I think what he's asking is like, of the robot that you have and what you have on
I
the
think-
table in front of us, like, what do you guys maybe most proud of?
I think this is. I think
That
this is
one.
because this is like because at first we
That
couldn't
was
figure out the
most
energy
innovative.
storage. We were like really confused of how to do it, and then when we figured this out, we were like really happy, so we could earn a lot of points from the energy storage.
Because
Cool.
at first we thought we could make a bin that could hold it and we could flip it over, but
we thought that was too difficult
Yeah,
for
it was
our
too
robot
difficult.
to- and we were running out
Sometimes
of
the
time.
simplest, like, that's not a complicated piece, right?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes the simple, like, you had to design it and make it work. Sometimes the simplest design is also the best one, right?
Yes.
I'm actually curious, so I see that you guys have shared some code on your board, and I'm curious, so you can maybe tell us a little bit about it, we just have a little bit of time, but maybe tell us how you got to that place, or what piece are you most proud of or most impactful to what you did?
So our code has changed to different places because first we had a smaller version of code that our robot had changed, so we had to change our code again, and we have these different modifications of our code because sometimes it would work, sometimes it didn't work. We had to keep changing it until we got it right.
So you needed something that was accurate
Yes.
more often.
So this morning we were practicing. We had to change the code for their team because it was messing up, and it was like totally messing up. It wasn't working at all. So we had to change it, and then it worked. But then for our code, after we coded it, it was kind of working, but sometimes it was getting messed up because of the positioning. We had to, and then our robot got entirely changed, so we had to kind of like before, if it was like going forward, then we would have it like going like the arrow in the code blocks would be forward. forward. So then after that, like to go forward, we have to make it go like we have to put the arrows like backwards in the code because our robot changed.
How many programs do you have totally in this one?
So this
So
is
we had three
Altogether
all
three
here. So
programs.
there's 0, 1, and 2.
That's it?
Yeah.
So how many out of those 3 programs? You guys did it in some laptop somewhere, right?
Yeah, we did it on the laptop first, then we put it all in there. and
So
we
for
were
one
using
mission,
that.
let's assume that's 0, let's assume that's the one.
Yeah.
How many versions of that one do you have on your laptop?
1.
That's
No,
it?
2, exactly.
yeah, about 2.
So you have two
For each
programs
one,
with
about
0.
like 2 or 1. We didn't
That's it?
have more.
They're asking how many times you modify.
How many iterations, how many times did you have
How
to,
many saves you
to
did?
program it?
A lot.
3 or
Okay.
4
A lot,
times.
that's probably the truthful answer, yeah. We can't keep track of it, we'll just define it as a lot.
The first time you do, you go wrong. Again, you will have
Make a
improvement,
change.
right?
Like-
So that's the first version. When
Sometimes
you do
when-
improvement, that's the second version.
You
Like
save
that,
it, right?
you
If this is
keep
good, so you save it,
save
you make it
How
change
many-
again,
Yeah,
and then
and
you
then
say,
we kept
okay.
them
That's
giving
what
them
you
different
have.
names.
So
like,
sometimes
with the
when
date.
their
Exactly,
mission was
that's what
going
it
to smarter, it knocked over the power plant. So we had to like keep on changing it, or sometimes it was just how they positioned it, and we would have to make sure that it was right, like next to the power plant, and not like bumping into it, or it would mess up the entire code.
Cool.
So,
So in one.
yeah, you go for
Like,
it.
what was the biggest challenge as a big team?
Coding.
Biggest challenge.
The biggest challenge was, I think, the biggest challenge was coding and the positioning. And the positioning.
Don't break it.
I'll let you talk about
We
this.
still
So-
need it, yes, we
got
still
two
need it.
more.
So I hear coding, anything else that was a big difficulty?
Positioning.
Positioning.
So we started late, so it was hard to like catch up and get everything.
We
Perfect.
were meeting a lot. It's kind of getting busy for us.
How many times did you guys meet in a week?
About like
In the
3 or 4
beginning,
times.
we did like I think 4 times a week, and then 3 times a week, and then when we got towards the end, closer to the tournament, we were doing it like every day.
Every day.
Every day.
So also
One last
on
question, one
school-
last, okay. Go ahead.
so on school holidays, we also all split up. Like with our groups, we came at different times so we could test our robot because we only have one robot, so we can't all work on it at the same time. So we all split up and came at different times during the day, and we worked on the robot on our own.
So how did you resolve all your disagreements?
So our disagreement. So we just decided to say that we reminded each other that if we disagree, we won't do a good job, and we will not like win in the competition, and we want to win. So and yeah, and it will
Also-
take a lot of time.
And also, like, let's just say both of us had 2 different ideas of the code. So one person would test out their idea first, and then we would do the other person's, and whichever one is better, we would test out.
That's a good one.
And sometimes both the codes are flawed.
Well, and sometimes you have to take the best of both of them, or, right, or
And we
acknowledge
just
that neither
started
of them works.
combining them, making different combinations
Perfect.
and different ways.
So our time is about up, and so the last thing that we do here is feedback, and so we throw it over to you. Is there anything that you guys want feedback on about anything that you shared with us today? That's the starting point. We will also share with you, but anything you guys want feedback
Any
on?
questions? To us.
Yeah, can we have feedback about the song?
What are you wondering about your song?
Is it good?
Is it
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, polish it a little bit more if that's what you're gonna go with. Like just
Just
like
music, background music, kind of, yeah, some
I got-
funky sounds.
I think it's fun and it's entertaining, and just make sure like you got it. Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
What else? Any more?
So what about our speeches?
That's the
So,
only
so,
thing.
so let's go ahead.
I'm sorry, kids, I was just, Judge is asking if you have any feedback for them about the tournament.
Or just no, it's more no, it's actually questions for you guys. Like you're you know, for example, if you're like, you know, some people have been like, well, what do you think about this piece, or you know, how could we improve the robot? Like those are the kinds of things we can give you some feedback on.
How could we improve on the robot?
So I'll be honest, one of the things, so I'm looking specifically at design, right? And it is very clear to me that you guys have, and part of that is strategy also. It's very clear to me that you guys have a strategy and you've tried to maximize your attachments to accomplish the missions to get back and then swap them out.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm always wondering, like, how can we make it more efficient? And in this case, the efficiency that we're looking at is time, right? Because every time you come back, you lose the opportunity to do something. And so, like, I'm looking at this and all these attachments in my brain, I'm like, and maybe you guys know this and we just don't know, but, and you don't need to answer because it's just the feedback point. Like, how can you add on multiple attachments at the same time to run it to do more things at the same time? Or how can you use or modify the attachments you have to make them be even more multi-purpose? That's the kind of thing I would look, like, for you, it's not an easy question to answer, but it's something to play with, right?
I would
And
say
one
they're
more.
good, I mean, you're asking about your design. You had a problem in the design, which you guys did not fix it. You are going around that one. The problem is you are having positioning, right?
Positioning.
Where to position.
That's
So instead of seeing C and I, you should make a robot so that you can put in bigger, like, say for example, your robot is this size, you can put your hand like this, and then there's a board here, right? If this hits to this, that means that's your deadline. I mean, that's where it should start.
And
So that way you can just remove it and then hit start, and it's good. So it's
Yeah.
type of
To
design
improve.
changes you can think of.
To
Because that's the
improve-
problem you have, right? You have to see how to
If you're,
overcome that.
if you're off by a little bit, you're still gonna encounter some difficulty
So-
potentially, right?
Yes.
If you have to improve, you can use sensors, right? Sensors can sense the points in the table and you can enhance it. You don't have to do align every time, right? If you leave it, the sensor should go and position itself. There are people who do that.
And the truth is you already have your 3 runs, right? You could play with the sensor on maybe one of them as a starting point, and that would, like, maybe you could get it to work on one of them that makes it easier. You don't even have to be so accurate, it just does it for you. And that would speed up your process.
Yeah, we had that in one of Smart Ryan Rishi's mission. So it would go to the TV, come back, and it would turn itself.
Mhm.
They just had to position it for the TV and for the dyno, and most of the missions are kind of like that.
That's
No,
right.
you can activate only during the
Start.
initials, because your positioning was the problem, right, in your design. So when you put that, it can activate. After that, you can disable it. After it moves, you can disable it. You can write the program like that.
So, we just wanna thank you guys for your time and sharing all of this with us. And we wish you well this afternoon. We know you guys have a lot of potential for points, and curious to see how you guys do. Okay?
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the target, go for it.
I saw that, full total 210.
Thanks, guys.